Hello streamers, podcasters, and potentially voice actors. I'm Master Marslander. I do lots of audio reviews, and today we're taking a look at the Maono PD200X. This is both a USB microphone and an XLR microphone. It's a combo. I've not seen many things like this. This unit was sent out by Maono themselves for this review, so thank you very much, Maono. And I'm looking forward to talking about this because this is a pretty cool little unit and it does a lot. You get a lot of options here, and boy howdy, it's a package. Let's get into it. So if you're into streaming or even just making some basic vocals for voiceovers or for music, quality microphones are super important to you. Now, if you're even considering a USB microphone, odds are you don't need like the absolute cream of the crop $3,000 crazy insano mode musician microphone. You just want something that sounds really, really nice, that is still affordable and probably easy to use. And fortunately, that's what we get with the Maono microphone here. This is a very easy to use microphone and you get tons of options. And what's really cool about this unit is that you have the option of running it USB or running it XLR into an audio interface. I haven't seen that very often. This is a pretty cool little combo. And later in the review, you're going to see we're going to be doing comparisons of how this microphone sounds through USB versus how it sounds XLR and how it compares to other microphones like my daily driver right here. So before we kind of talk about the sound performance of this thing, the sound quality of the microphone, let's go over the body here and the build of it. It's actually built pretty dang well. I was worried it would be very, very kind of flimsy and plasticky, but fortunately it's robust. It's got a little bit of weight to it. It comes with this shock absorber, which is nice. It'll kind of do the job. You'll see more later how well it does the job of shock absorption, but it's nice that it comes included. On top here, we have our controls. You have a gain rotating knob right here to adjust your gain. You can tap it on and off as well. You have a mute button on top. On the back here, we have a 3.5mm port for monitoring with headphones. We have our XLR port, and then we have a USB Type-C port if you want to run this USB. Then, of course, we have this button right here, which we'll get into later. But what this button does is adjust the colors of the LED ring built into the microphone right here. When you're running the microphone USB, you get the cool lights. You don't get the lights if you're running it XLR. So obviously it is relying on the USB to kind of power this. But while you're running USB, you get a nice subtle little green light around your gain knob here. And then this ring of light here is adjustable. And we'll go over that when we're listening to this in USB mode. But yes, there is a LED ring right here, which you can change the colors to almost anything you want, or you can even turn it off if you really don't want it. This is an optional thing, but it's only optional if you're running it through USB. Our pop filter here is a very nice pop filter. It's very reminiscent of some of the more popular streaming microphones out there right now, but you pop this guy off and there's your pop filter. And here is a better look of the microphone itself. It does have built-in shock absorption on top of the already included shock mount. So good stuff. And then the pop filter just slides right over there, pops right on. So a very good body and very good system. The joint here for the shock mount is maybe the only part of the build here that I would like to see improved. This is a plastic hinge here that is being mounted and adjusted through a metal screw, which is being controlled by a plastic nub right here. So plastic and metal don't generally go well together for very long. One of these is probably going to give eventually, but you mount this onto an arm or mount this wherever you want and just leave it there and don't intend to taking it on and off over and over again. It's probably going to be just fine. It's been very robust for me, but I do wish that this joint here was all metal as opposed to plastic, but at least it makes it a little bit lighter. If nothing else, it's at least very functional and it hasn't failed on me. So all good news. So it's got a nice robust body and the build quality is really nice. Everything kind of removes and gets put back on with ease. The controls are intuitive and functional, work very, very well, and you get tons of features in terms of your inputs and your outputs. So everything in here is looking like a pretty good package, but now let's see how it does with sound performance. Let's get into it. All right, so this is what the microphone sounds like. USB mode. As you can see, we actually got our little light up ring here. This is RGB. If I wanted to, I could change the colors to whatever I want, so that's cool. It's simple, easy plug and play. You plug the USB in and it just kind of works, but this is just the USB. I'm not using an audio interface at all. I'm also not using any filters. So this is raw audio right from the microphone. You can probably hear my fan a little bit if I'm very quiet, but it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, it has a built-in shock absorber, as you can see. If I tap it, actually it picks it up pretty good. That's a little surprising. The shock absorber doesn't really protect it much from shock, so that's interesting, but something to note. Yeah, it looks great. I think it looks awesome, and yeah, it's really easy to plug and play. And now we're back to using the USB again, but this time we have just kind of basic OBS filters enabled on the microphone. I have a gain, I have a limiter, and I have a noise suppression. So you shouldn't any longer be able to hear much of the background noise or the fan noise. And maybe the shock absorber is working a bit better for us this time. Let's see. Not really, but that's okay. So as I already pointed out, while we're in USB mode, we get this light ring around the microphone. This is optional, but also you are able to adjust the different colors. So stock-wise, we have a nice white, just plain white color ring. I have to kind of cover it up for you to really see the kind of actual color of this because of the way that the camera is exposing to it. But yeah, default, you have just a nice white ring. But there's a button on the back here, right there. You tap that button and it'll go through a cycle of different colors to choose from. And you get pretty much any color you want, plus crazy unicorn rainbow barf. So we'll do that now so you can see all the different colors available to you. So here's white, just plain white. Next we have a red ring. It looks orange on the camera, but if I cover it up, you can kind of tell it's red. So you have a nice red ring. After red, we have orange. There you go. Nice orange ring. After orange, we have yellow. Again, a little hard to tell the difference, but I assure you it is yellow. After yellow, we have green. I actually really like the green. I think the green looks pretty sick. But yeah, green, and it's a nice, even toned, like spearmint green. I like it. We have a cool kind of ice blue. See, it's like a light ice blue. It's very nice, very cool and comforting. We have a bit of a deeper blue, almost aiming towards a purple, but it is still more or less a deep kind of royal blue. Then we get your neon pink, if you're into that. If you're a big old gamer, you probably want your neon pink. Well, here you go. Here's your neon pink. Looks very, very nice. And then last on the spectrum, we have the actual revolving cycling color spectrum unicorn barf. If I cover that up, you could see it just cycles through the whole thing. So for all of our ravers out there who really need our unicorn barf, you have the option. And now we're back to white. But let's say I want to be able to power this microphone through a USB. I don't have an audio interface. I have to rely on the USB, but I don't want this light. Stock, the light comes on, but I don't really want it. Let's say for some reason my setup, I just don't want there to be a distracting light on the microphone. Well, fortunately, you could just turn it off. To do that, press and hold the same button that you use to cycle through the colors. If I do that now, and there you go. After a few seconds, it just kind of pops off, and now you just have a regular microphone. No light, but it's still picking me up. It's still plugged in through USB. There's just no distracting light on the microphone. So you have pretty much all the options you need to make this as gamery or not gamery as you like. Good stuff. Okay, so now we're trying out the microphone, no filters, but using the XLR input. I have it connected to my audio interface, and this is, again, just stock sound, no filters. You can probably hear my fan here in the room or any other kind of background noise, but this is what it sounds like through XLR as opposed to USB. It's still a very simple thing. There's no extra kind of switch or toggle you have to manipulate to go between XLR or USB. You just plug one or the other in, and it's as simple as that. It's a really easy to use system here, and I really appreciate that you get both options. But yes, this is the difference. This is the XLR input. Okay, and now we have the XLR with some basic OBS filters. Again, all I have is a noise suppression, I have a gain, and a limiter set in OBS. So there's no other filters on this. It should pretty much eliminate the background noise, but this is basically what the voice still sounds like with those filters through an XLR cable. So again, this is in contrast to the USB version. You can probably hear the difference yourself, or maybe you can't. I don't know. We'll find out together. But yeah, it's really easy as can be, and you can make your own judgment of how you think it sounds. Okay, so now we have this ridiculous setup, but it's one that maybe isn't to prove in some way useful to you. We'll see. What I have over here is my daily driver that I use for all of my streams and for all my videos to record so far to date. This is the Shure SM57. Just a very simple Shure microphone. I have a little pop filter on here, but this is what I use daily all the time, and I really love this microphone. Then we're going to just kind of switch the input over here, and I'm going to just kind of just keep talking, and we're going to see the difference right here live. So now I'm back over here to the Maono microphone. You can probably hear the difference. And yeah, that's kind of the difference we're dealing with versus a Shure microphone I've been using forever. Here's the new one. And I am just running this USB right now. I'm not even running this through the XLR. But this is going to maybe kind of give you a better idea of what we're kind of dealing with versus a standard, typical microphone, XLR microphone you're going to be running for most musicians or maybe even a bit of vocals versus a USB microphone that also will accept a XLR. But yes, this is the Maono, and I'm going to go back over to the Shure. And now we're back over to the Shure microphone, and you can, again, probably hear the difference. So that's what you're kind of gaining. Do you want your XLR? Do you want your USB? Well, fortunately, with this Maono, you kind of get the choice of both. Whether you want to run XLR or USB, you can do both here. This microphone, my daily driver here, the Shure microphone, is only XLR. There is no USB option, but I do think it's interesting to kind of just hear the difference between a XLR and a USB side by side here in the same room, same everything, same levels, same filters. Everything is the same here. It's just that we have two different microphones. So if you've been watching my videos, this is how I usually sound versus over here, which is the Maono microphone, and how I could sound if I were to just keep using this one. So there's your difference there between the two, and you can decide for yourself which one you prefer. So of these two microphones, which one do I prefer? Which one I kind of still lean more towards? I think that I'm still going to lean a bit more towards the Shure microphone. I feel like I'm still getting a bit more kind of extension and a bit more resolution in my voice, a bit more texture and tonality from the Shure microphone than I do with the Maono microphone. The Maono microphone tends to kind of smooth things out a little bit, which may be something you really, really want. It kind of almost like it has its own built-in compressor a little bit. Everything just feels a bit more kind of crunched more towards the mid-range and rounded off and smooth. And my voice sounds even, I would say, a little bit warmer, maybe even a little bit more artificially robust, but it's just kind of lacking some of that extra texture that I'm getting out of the Shure microphone. All that said, I think that the Maono still sounds amazing. I think it sounds great, and you're going to be able to make your own call here about which one, maybe is more close what you want for your streaming. But man, it's a really good mic. I was genuinely surprised. I am genuinely surprised. I really like this thing. And if you just really want to have your option, USB and or XLR, this is a really compelling option. I mean, I've had my fair share of microphones here in the studio. I've done many USB microphones. I've had a handful of XLR microphones. And I've never had a microphone that could do both. So that's cool. But also, of all those mics, all those USB microphones I have tried, this one sounds the best. For sure. And for like 50, 60 bucks, this is going to be hard to beat, man. I really, really dig it. I love all the options you have with it. And it sounds good. Listen to me right now. I think I sound pretty dang good. Yeah, I'm not getting quite as much as I get out of the Shure, but damn it, it sounds great. And especially if you're new to streaming, I think this is a super compelling option. It's a great microphone. It has all the options you could ever need. And even as a USB mic, as you can tell right now, it sounds great. It really does. So I really dig it. And I think that it's a very compelling option. I don't think you could really go wrong with it, but you got to make your own call. You got a couple different microphones right here, one sounding one way or another. And based on the sound you're hearing right now, you can make your own choice about kind of which direction you want to go. But again, you kind of have your choice here with the Maono of both. So I don't know, play around with it, but I think it's a great mic. And thank you so much, Maono, for sending this out for review. Really appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to doing kind of some more gamery, streamery, podcasty kind of equipment here in the future. So again, thank you very much. And I hope that you enjoyed all of this. I'll see you again soon.